What's up everybody? Welcome back to Paul's Hardware. Today I am doing a tutorial video on how to clean a mechanical keyboard. There's quite a few reasons why you might want to clean a mechanical keyboard. For one thing, they're quite expensive, or they tend to be much more expensive than rubber dome keyboards. For that reason, you might want to take some time to help extend their lifespan by keeping them clean of dust, debris, or other contaminants that might happen while you're using your computer or engaging in other various activities. But for this purpose, I have a Corsair Vengeance K95, which is a very nice mechanical keyboard, which happens to have coffee spilled all over it. I have no idea how this happened. But whether you're talking about a spill like the one I'm dealing with today, or just a lifetime of contaminants and debris that have built up on your keyboard, keep watching, I'll show you how to clean it up. So first off, I want to give credit where credit is due. So big thanks to all the Reddit contributors over at r/mechanical keyboards. In particular, the keyboard spill guide that was posted there by Ripster55. This video here would not be nearly as in-depth as it is without their contributions. So thanks to all you guys, and links in the video description, of course, if you guys want to check it out if you're watching this video. Let's start with tools for the job. And the job, by the way, if it wasn't clear in the intro, is to clean up sticky stuff, dirt, grime, and particularly to free up stuck keys or keys that aren't registering properly as a result of dirt buildup or of spills. So you're going to want some paper towels and or coffee filters. I also recommend some Q-tips or swabs. A small brush or a toothbrush is also very helpful. You're going to want some canned air or an air compressor. That's just for light dusting and cleaning. You can also use a vacuum across the top of the keyboard to get dust and light stuff that's not stuck off of there. You want some cleaning solution, and for this I just recommend warm or almost hot water. That's what's best to use. If that is not strong enough to remove the sticky stuff, then you will want some isopropyl alcohol, and I usually dilute this with water so it's not as strong. A 50-50 mix can work quite well. Please note here, for alcohol or other cleaners you might be considering, for keyboards that have a UV coating, it can cause discoloration, so definitely try water first. And if you're going to use alcohols or cleaners, use them sparingly. Test them first to make sure they're not going to cause any problems with the plastic, and wipe them off immediately. Do not let them sit on the plastic of your keycaps. You will also want a straw. I'm also going to be using a colander. And then you also might want a big bag of rice or kitty litter if you want to dry things out a bit quicker. That's optional. I'm not going to be using that personally here. Another optional item is a keycap puller. Again, you don't need this, but it can make pulling the keycaps off a lot easier. You might also want some lubricant. This is another optional tool for the job, and this is really only going to be necessary if you're using stuff like alcohol, which can remove some of the lubricant that is on the switches and the stabilizers. That's all for tools for the job. Next, just some quick notes on some other methods of cleaning besides what I'm showing you here today. You might have heard it recommended to put your keyboard in a dishwasher, and some keyboards, I think Logitech actually has one where they recommend this. For mechanical keyboards, I do not recommend full liquid submersion or putting it in a dishwasher at all, basically, for mechanicals. Just stay away from that. If all the other methods that are listed here have failed, if you tried them and the keyboard's still not working, then you can possibly go with submersion or a dishwasher method. But again, only as a last measure, and if the keyboard was just going to be thrown away. Otherwise, if you do put it in a dishwasher, use a setting with as little or as low heat as possible. Skip the drying cycle, please. And then also make sure that your keyboard is fully dry for at least 2 to 3 days before testing. And then if you're going with this method, remember you're probably going to need to re-lubricate the switches as well as the stabilizers. Another question that comes up is, will I be voiding my warranty by cleaning my keyboard? For the basic methods I'm showing you here, you probably won't, but in many cases it will be yes, you will void your warranty. That's if you damage the keyboard, which often isn't covered, or if you clean off like the labels or the printing or the serial number or something like that, then you probably won't be able to get your warranty coverage. So let's begin with the tragedy. I've just spilled something all over my keyboard, kind of like the coffee that I totally spilled intentionally on this keyboard, right? That was intentional? Okay. So if you spilled something on your keyboard, first thing to do, unplug it. Unplug it right away. Then you're going to want to flip it upside down, drain out as much of that liquid as you can, clean up as much of the spill as you can with dry towels or paper towels or that sort of thing, and then leave the keyboard to dry the rest of the way. You can go right ahead with cleaning, but usually it's best to let it dry just to be on the safe side. Once you've done your initial cleanup after the spill, it's time for cleaning. Step 1 is going to be to pull off all of the keycaps. You might want to look up a keyboard map or snap a quick picture of your keyboard first off so you can put them back in the proper order, particularly if it's the only keyboard to your only computer. But to pull off the keycaps, you can use a keycap puller if you have one of these available, and I know not everyone does, although a lot of mechanical keyboards will come with one. That's the best method to use. If you don't have that, then simply use caution. Don't force the keycaps off. Make sure that you're pulling upwards in one direction and that you're not pulling at a strange angle. You want the normal keys to lift straight up off of the keyboard. You might wiggle them a little bit if they're not pulling off immediately. I recommend starting at the edges so you can get kind of a good grip on those, and then if you have larger keys, pull the keycaps off around those so you can get better access to them. Bear in mind that keys with stabilizers, the larger keys like a spacebar or the enter button, can be left on if they're not dirty or they're not sticky, but if you do need to pull them off, then use a little bit of extra caution because there's different types of stabilizers, and you want to make sure that you can pull the keycap off cleanly without pulling the stabilizers off as well. Step 2 is going to be to wash the keycaps, and here's where I will be using the colander. Just take all the keycaps you pulled off, put them in the colander, wash them thoroughly with warm water. If they are more sticky or there's more residue, use some dish soap on them just a little bit, and then make sure you rinse them thoroughly, and as with everything here, allow them to dry completely. Step 3 is going to be the tray or the base plate of the keyboard itself. There's a lot of different designs for mechanical keyboards, so they're not all going to look just like this. But here I would just use some paper towels or coffee filters. Paper towels if you need more material. Coffee filters I like because they don't tend to leave quite as much fibers. And then just warm water to start out. Again, you're going to want to go with warm, almost hot water for all the cleaning here initially, and then only move on to something stronger if necessary. You can use Q-tips or swabs for the nooks and crannies of the keyboard, and then make sure you use enough water just to get your cloth, towel, or Q-tip damp. Avoid dripping because you don't want to add more water or more liquid to the equation here. Watch out for the gaps that might lead through to the inside of the keyboard housing. If the liquid or coffee or whatnot has gotten through into there, you might want to consider a deep cleaning via disassembly, but we're not going to be covering that particular method in this video. Step 4 is going to be to clean the switches themselves. Here's where you're probably going to have the most issue with stickiness and switches not working properly. So first off, just clean the exterior of the switch. Keep an eye out for LEDs if they are there, but again, as long as you're not using too much liquid, you should be fine. Check for stickiness or residue on the exterior of the switch. Here you can use the hot water straw trick, so just use your drinking straw, get some warm, almost hot water, get a little bit of water in the tip of the straw, and then push it down onto the switch, then just spam the key a bunch of times to get that water moving around and hopefully clear away any stickiness or residue. You can also use a Q-tip with just enough water or alcohol solution to get the tip of the Q-tip damp. You want to depress the switch down and then use just the tip of the Q-tip or swab to clean the inside edges, because the chances are that's where the stickiness is occurring. If the key still sticks or it does not travel properly after you've dried it, then you can use a small amount of the oil or spray lubricants that we recommended earlier in the video to free that up. And again, here, if you're using oil or spray lubricant, let it dry completely before you plug it in and do testing. And then finally here for the switches are the stabilizers for the larger switches. Again, here, just clean it carefully with a swab and some water, or you can use a 50-50 water alcohol mix if they're really sticky. And again, just use your best judgment because there's different designs for these. Make sure you clean them thoroughly, but that you're not going to do any damage. Just be gentle. And lastly, for cleaning, step 5 is dry time, and this is very, very, very important. Do not attempt to test your keyboard or even plug it in until it's completely dry. 2 days is the minimum recommended dry time. Some people have recommended leaving your keyboard like out in the sun or near a heat source to speed this up. I would say just be patient. Be safe. Don't leave it in the sun because it could discolor your whole keyboard. And then once your keyboard's dry, you can move on to testing. So go ahead and replace your keycaps in just the same way you remove them. Be careful. Don't use force. Test all the keys to make sure that they register after you've plugged in the keyboard, and also that they're traveling properly. You don't want to plug the keyboard back in and then find out you have one key that's still not working and have to go through the whole cleaning and drying process over again. Now, if all of this process did not work, if you've still got some keys that are sticky or not registering, you're not completely out of luck. There's some detailed notes on advanced methods of cleaning, like fully disassembling the keyboard and removing the interior PCB, or submerging it in a solvent bath, or cleaning other types of keyboards, such as rubber dome switch keyboards. You can find those via the link to Ripster's cleaning guide from Reddit. That's in this video's description, so go ahead and check that out if you want some more information. And that's going to wrap it up for this video, guys. Hopefully you've learned a little bit more about keeping your mechanical keyboard clean and free of sticky ooey gooiness, because we know how that likes to work its way in there. Now, if you found this video useful, go ahead and click the like button. If you'd like to see more of my videos, go ahead and subscribe to my YouTube channel, and we'll see you all next time. I'm Paul Doig. No, I'm not. What am I talking about? Stay. If you. Hello. YouTube channel.